Okay, this video was sent to me by the rider to see if I could give any advice on how to do this better. So our wings look pretty good. Oh, a little loose there. And there we go. That's the problem. Okay, well, let's see. If we dial this back a little bit, let's watch this just on the final approach again one more time. The rider comes in. It's a little loose in here, and okay. So we have two things here that jump out at me to start off with. We'll start with the most obvious one, and that's the approach on the final rock. Now, to keep some perspective, this is really hard to tell in videos online, is how big things truly are. This drop behind his friends, that's a pretty good little drop into this valley. And if you look at the front axle of this wheel compared to the rock that it's going over, that's a near vertical climb on that rock, and it is taller than the axle of the bike. So when he hits that, that's a pretty good climb to come up and over. Now, the interesting thing is the bike actually wants to stay upright. If you look at this, the bike has a little bit of air coming up, but it has a perfect landing. The front end touches the ground just slightly before the rear. The bike is upright. The only problem with the bike at this point is it just doesn't have a pilot. So that gives you an idea that most of these major failures are more about the rider than it is the bike. Looking at this is all about speed. This rider just came in way too fast on this rock. So as it comes in and hits right there, what happened is we got a massive compression in the front suspension. This is a early model Tenere 700. They're fairly light sprung, but that's really not the problem here. It's how you hit the rock rather than the bike itself. And as he comes in, he gets this really kind of a high-speed launch right there. Let's back it up. If we bring this bike back down to the ground, we can really see what goes on here. When that rider comes up, right now both ends look fully extended. So the rear suspension and the front suspension are fully extended. In the front, that's okay. That's a good thing. But when he hits it, what you'll see is it very, very rapidly runs out of travel. This is about 9.5 inches of travel on a Tenere 700. So once it hits that bottom and it can't allow it to absorb anymore, then all the energy goes directly into the motorcycle and the rim, and that's when you get this really big rebound. So instead of that bike gently rolling off the top, it bounces off the top, causing the bike to drive into it, and then of course it kicks the rider back up and off. Looking at the rider himself, it looks pretty good in the slow motion, but as we saw in the high speed, you get a really sharp hit. That really sharp hit knocks that bike or that rider off balance, and you can see where that happens in the slow-mo. Full compression, energy goes up, it kicks into the bike, the rider's leaning forward. This isn't a bad thing, but it hits him so hard that he loses grip right about here. You can see the rider is now out of control, coming back off the bike. You see the hands off the handlebars. He's completely separated at this point. That also, what happened is you're going to notice that the feet get kicked off. That rider's completely in the air at this point and off of those pegs. When that rider, because he doesn't have any place for that bike to go, and once you get kicked off those pegs, you are absolutely hosed. It is an extremely festive experience, and followed up by a rapid, unintentional rapid dismount. Let's just call it that. So as that rider hits here, that back end hits, that rider is now all the way up and off the bike. He's hosed. There's absolutely no saving it at that point, and he's all the way out. Now, there are a couple of errors I did notice as we got into this earlier. Let's back it up a little bit and talk about the approach. The rider's in a good standing position back at this point. The bike's rolled underneath him. A little bit low, but not terrible as far as the squat goes. He is standing. As it comes down right here, he drops in. But right there, that's where everything starts to go wrong. And what you'll notice is as that rider hit that bottom, he's in almost a sitting position. And that's what I noticed here, is that he came down okay, but he gets knocked down into the bike here at the bottom, and then it kicks him up off that rock. Once he's off the rock, then again, it's back to a festive experience. So let's back that up just a little bit again and really dissect this kind of a frame by frame. The rider's rolling the bike underneath him, looks good at this point, everything's going well, until this here. You'll see the rider gets drawn all the way down towards the seat. He's trying to get back up, or at least it looks like he's trying to get back up into control, but he hits this other rock, He's got way too much throttle, and he gets airborne here. So now he's jumping up the hill, trying to line up. He's off balance. The bike is steering slightly out off balance. He does get control right about here. You'll see he gets to steer straight back into the hill again. But again, now he's approaching too fast and too late to get into control. So that's where we're looking. If we go all the way back, there are some tells that this might have not gone quite as well. The rider's in almost a sitting position back here. He easily gets knocked off the seat. And it's not until about here that you see the rider really standing up and committing to this hill. Then he goes in and goes for this obstacle and it gets knocked off. With his buddies hanging out and watching him, they're doing this on purpose. This isn't accidental. There was plenty of room back around the side of the rock. He could have just ridden up. We don't ride bikes because we're smart. We ride them because we're trying to have fun. So good for this rider to put himself out here on the internet for us to learn from that experience. Let me pause right here before we end this video and a couple other observational notes as an instructor. We're looking at a stock skid plate. We're looking at no crash bars. We have some hand protection. This is almost a 4-year-old video clip that was sent to me, which means this is a brand new bike, stock tires running on the stock Pirellis. Chances are this is a pretty new bike to this rider. They're trying to learn it at the same time. So again, kudos to the rider. The rider is wearing good boots. He's wearing Tech 7s. He's got a proper helmet. So at least he's prepared. He's got the right mindset going into this. So I do want to give kudos to the rider for that. As a coach, what I would suggest is really focus on coming down into this ditch more controlled. Drop your speed a little bit at the bottom so you can get your drive at the bottom. This is where we should be the drive. At this point, the rider is still trying to catch control and is hitting this rock way too hard. You should come into that with a little bit more control, starting in a standing position. This should be the slowest he is on the hill. This isn't a fast, you can't hit these really heavy vertical faces at high speed. The more vertical, the taller it is, the slower you need to make your approach so you don't get these situations where you not only get kicked off of the handlebars, but you get completely bucked off of the motorcycle. And with the rear end being low to the bike, as soon as it hits that tailbone of the rider, then you're just kicked completely free. So I think it's pretty easy to fix this if the rider wants to take another couple shots at it. It is doable. The bike is capable. The rider, I think, could be capable. But we just have to really fix that clutch and throttle control, fix our speed approach so that we're not plowing into it. Thanks for watching the channel. This is the first time I've done a reaction video like this. If you like it, please leave some notes in the comments what you liked and didn't like so I can improve on it if I'm going to do this again. Also, if you would like to come train with me, you can go to BretTkacs.com. I do adventure bike training in the U.S. and I do international tours. This year, 2026, I'll be taking people into Morocco and into Nepal with me again. So hopefully you'll get a chance to check that out. Again, BretTkacs.com. And thanks for watching the channel. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you for the next video.